Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my Red Dead Redemption 2 Weapons Expert Challenge Guide. In this guide I'll be taking you over the quickest and easiest ways on how you can complete your Weapons Expert challenges. So without further ado, let's immediately jump in challenge number 1, which requires you to kill 3 enemies with a knife. Now this one should probably happen naturally throughout the story, but if you want to get this one out of the way as quickly as possible, then simply find any enemy and just kill it with a knife. It doesn't have to be stealthy or anything like that. Personally, I got this naturally through the story, but if you're looking for a nice spot to get these kills in, then you probably saw it on your screen already. Now before I start with the challenge guide, I do want to mention one thing, is that in this challenge guide, I'm basically going to be using one location, mainly because it's an easy location. You can access it early on and it's a perfect location of grinding out these kills. If you want to keep using this location and to be safe that it doesn't actually disappear, which I personally haven't risked myself, is by simply getting those kills that you require and then running away again until you see your radar no longer having this red line around it, which basically indicates that there's enemies near and are in a hostile state. As soon as that disappears, all the enemies will have respawned and you can go back again to a fresh gang hideout and you can just, continue on with your next challenge. Challenge number 2 requires to kill 3 enemies in 10 seconds only using throwing knives. Now the throwing knives are unlocked through playing the story after the mission paying a social call, which is in chapter 2. After that you can buy it at the fence store in Emerald Ranch or in Saint Denis. And another easy way of doing this, if you're kind of struggling with it, is hog tying 3 enemies and then killing them with a throwing knife. But personally, as you see by the footage, I found a nice spot of doing it with some deadeye action going on, so it shouldn't take you too much time. Challenge number 3 requires you to kill 3 birds of prey using only a tomahawk. Now tomahawks you can find at the fence store again. What you want to do is you want to head down to Twin Stack Pass and then kill a deer or a buck, and that will attract birds of prey, such as an eagle for example. Wait until it attracts the bird and starts munching away on the deer or the buck, and then simply log on with some deadeye, throw the tomahawk to his face, and do that 2 more times to complete the challenge. It's not hard at all, it just maybe requires a little bit of patience. And as a side note, it does help to kill a fresh new deer if you notice that there's no more birds being attracted by the deer. Challenge number 4 requires you to kill 10 enemies with a shotgun using crafted ammo. Now first of all, obviously you're going to need the pamphlet in order to be able to even craft the incendiary ammo that we're going to be crafting. We're using incendiary ammo because that is the only one that is available early game. What you want to do in order to get this one is either to head down to Copperhand Landing, where you can find the recipe in this shack right here on the location I'm standing on. At that point in the game, at the time of recording, I already had it, so it wasn't showing up for me. But trust me, if you're standing there, you should get a prop of either holding down triangle or Y, and then it's yours. Or you can wait until you complete the mission pouring forth oil, which is your chapter 2 mission, and then it will be available at the fence. When you finally have the recipe, what you then want to do is you want to purchase yourself some regular shotgun shells and also some moonshine. If you don't have moonshine, you can also get that at the fence as well, and then basically start crafting ammo. You're only crafting 1 piece of ammo for every moonshine and bullet you use, so you're gonna need to do some back and forth between the fence and you crafting, but obviously you can do that right in front of the fence and you don't have to set up a campfire. So constantly just go back and forth getting moonshine and then crafting some bullets and you should be fine. Personally, I would advise you to craft some extra bullets in case you miss. For a nice added bonus, please do this during night. The lighting effects are simply stunning. Challenge number 5 requires you to kill 5 mounted enemies using 1 throwing knife per kill. Now it's very important that these enemies are on a horse, and the way I personally did this, and it might cost you a little bit of honor in the process of doing so, is by finding some people that are roaming around on the horse through the world, which aren't really hard to find at all, and I kind of aim at them and stay with them until they draw their guns and start pointing them at you, at which point they will be hostile and considered enemies, and then you can throw the throwing knife into their face using deadeye, which is the safest way of doing this, and then you move on to the 4 other enemies doing the exact same thing. Challenge number 6 requires you to kill 4 enemies at the same time with a single stick of dynamite. Now for this one, what you want to do is you want to head down to the same location we've been using previously, and you want to make sure that you have full health and a health potion on as well for some extra protection from the blast. Because what you're going to be doing is taking a stick of dynamite and rushing into this cabin where there are exactly 4 people. Once you rush into the cabin, what you want to do is you want to activate Deadeye, and as your Deadeye is active, you want to throw the dynamite to buy you some extra time. As soon as the dynamite is thrown, make sure you back up a little bit or else you'll be caught in the blast and come to your own unfortunate death. Challenge number 7 requires you to kill 4 consecutive enemies by throwing and retrieving the same tomahawk. The way this one works is that you kill an enemy, you walk over to his body, and you receive the tomahawk that you previously thrown at his face. Again, using Deadeye is the best way of going about this one. Simply aim to his head as the Deadeye is locked on. Run towards the body, pick the tomahawk, activate Deadeye again, throw it to his head, rise and repeat a couple of times until you got those 4 kills. Not a difficult challenge at all, however do make sure that you have full health and maybe even a health potion equipped, because there's going to be a lot of guys shooting at you, not really wishing to see any throwing hawks thrown at their face. Challenge number 8 requires you to kill 15 enemies using a long-barreled sidearm. Now obviously this means that you're going to have to pay a visit to the gunsmith, which you can obviously find in any single town available everywhere in the world. Simply attach the long barrel attachment to any of your sidearm, and if you're going to be using 2 sidearms, then definitely make sure that you equip it on both sidearms, because if you're going to dual wield this and you're going to get a kill with the sidearm that doesn't have a long barrel on, it will not count. So make sure you keep that in mind while attempting this challenge. Again, the exact same location we've been using for the other things in the challenge is a perfect location of getting this. Do however keep in mind there is not exactly 15 gang members in this hideout, so as soon as you notice that there is only 1 or 2 left, use the method described at the start of the video so you can have a fresh gang hideout once again. Challenge number 9 requires you to kill 9 unaware enemies from behind using the bow. The best way for me to explain this one is to actually show you. Once again, we'll be using the exact same location as with the other challenges, and what you want to do is you want to approach the camp from this side of the map. When you do so, you'll be faced with an enemy or 2 facing their backs towards you. Simply aim for the head, activate Deadeye to make sure that you're going to hit your shot, and fire away. Then as soon as you got the kill, ride away again until your radar goes clear again, and then head back into the camp and then rise and repeat until you got all 9 kills. It takes a little bit of time, but it's seriously a really easy way of doing this, and you should have it done in just a couple of minutes. Challenge number 10 requires you to kill a grizzly bear without taking damage, only using throwing knives. Now this one might seem extremely difficult, but it actually isn't. The only difficult bit about this challenge is trying to find a grizzly bear, really. Personally, the location that was working for me is this general area right here, and especially I started hearing a lot of grizzly bear sounds as I was around this little statue right here. Stay back! Keep your eyes and ears open for the grizzly bear and stay cautious as you're on your horse. As soon as you see the grizzly bear rushing towards you, make sure you immediately activate Deadeye and lock onto his face with your throwing knife. As soon as his throwing knife hit, quickly activate it again and throw another throwing knife at his face, and keep doing so until the grizzly bear is dead. Make sure that there is not enough time between Deadeye, or your horse will definitely start flipping out and it will throw you off his back, meaning you're immediately vulnerable to the grizzly bear and you will be his lunch. So keep your distance, keep activating Deadeye and throwing those throwing knives, and you should have to kill in only a few throwing knives. And obviously make sure that you have full ammo with you just in case you happen to miss 1 or 2. And then when you complete challenge 1, 3, 7 and 10, you will be able to grab yourself some reinforced gear from the trapper. As always, it's looking extra nice and is also extra useful, and equipping everything will also grant you some additional bonuses as well, like with all the other sets. And that brings us to the end of this Weapons Expert Challenge guide. I hope you found this useful. If you did, make sure to leave it a like. Subscribe for more challenge guides and other Red Dead Redemption 2 content coming to you very soon. Thank you so very much for watching, and I'll see you all later.